everyone. I just got done with my review of my, introducing other brands that make 18-inch boy dolls. And while I was doing research, about that, I came up on a controversy. So this video, I thought I would share my thoughts about that. What happened is that when the American Girl first came out with Logan Everett, there was a minister that was complaining that we were emasculating little boys. Now, I was kind of confused because, I didn't really assume, when American Girl was putting out the boy doll, it didn't really just occur to me they were doing it for little boys. Because, certainly there's plenty of little girls and collectors that would like a boy doll too, Maybe they want somebody to have a brother or somebody to have a boyfriend or, so I didn't really, it didn't occur to me that they were putting it out for little boys. But, this guy was talking about, it's okay for little boys to play with action figures. But, it's not good for them to play with dolls because if they play with dolls, then they're not going to grow up knowing what, what men should do, how they're supposed to be. Now, I found this argument rather interesting. Mainly it's because of the action figures. I got an action figure right here. I got them because my Barbies needed boyfriends. So, what makes an action figure different from a doll? Okay, what do you think? Well, according to Hasbro, who was responsible for coining the figure, the term action figure, there is no difference. What happened is that when Hasbro released G.I. Joe, this was when my uncle played with G.I. Joe, so this was a long time ago. I think they first came out in the 1960s, I'm not sure. But anyway, I know that, my uncles played with them when they were little boys, and if I'm 42 years old, my uncles are, up there, they're at least 20 years older than me. And actually they played with their G.I. Joe's heads. They never found the bodies. That's a disturbing tale. But not one I'm going to get into. Anyway, so when, this was in a time when people really were rigid about gender roles. And Hasbro knew that if they went and said, we're releasing these dolls, that the little boys wouldn't want to play with them for one thing, because dolls are for girls. And then the parents wouldn't buy them either because, well, it would be like, well, what are you trying to do, sissify my boy, So, Hasbro came out with the term action figure. But what the definition Hasbro has for action figures is any posable doll underline, any posable doll that is marketed to boys. And, of course, action figures, did what, was appropriate boy stuff. They went to war if they were G.I. Joes. If they're Star Wars figures, they're going to war. If they're crime fighters, they're, fighting criminals, doing the stuff that, is considered appropriate to the male role. I didn't really understand, though, why this was kind of an issue, though, just because a doll's a little, instead of being 12 inches, it's 18 inches. I mean, like, for instance, Logan here. Logan's a drummer in a band, and I think it's country music, so it doesn't seem to me that he's not doing boy stuff. I mean, yeah, there's probably girl drummers, too, and all that, but, he's a boy, he's doing boy stuff. But even so, just as we make these dolls or these action figures, into appropriate gender roles or whatever, I don't see why people can't do the same thing for this. I think the reason why you know, in my day, they were trying to get people to be a little more open-minded about gender roles. It didn't really quite go over well. They had actually released a doll in my day called My Buddy. And it was meant for little boys. I don't think it went over very well. But they were trying in my day to kind of open up our minds and say, hey, you know, little girls can become doctors, and, you know, if little boys want to, or, you know, if men want to stay home and take care of the children and you know, in the house, that's fine too. But it didn't quite become popular, or people didn't quite accept it in my day. Now it's becoming a little more, you know, people are getting a little open-minded. And I personally don't think, even though it was a little hard for me at first to, you know, when you get so, it's not that you are against something usually, you know. It's just that after half of your life or 3/4 of your life, you know, everybody's always believed something. It's a little startling when people change their mind and they start acting differently. So I didn't have a problem with little boys playing with dolls. It's just it was initially kind of startling when they started. People started you know, saying they were giving their buying a doll for their son and all that, because it was just not something I was used to. But I don't think it's a bad thing, because, you know, the thing about life is that it's not, you can't make strict rules, because life goes in so many directions, and things just, you just can't box it up into little, you know, you can't box yourself up, because life won't stay in a box, you know. And I always felt, I didn't have a problem with gender roles, particularly as a younger person. But the problem is that because life sometimes puts people in, deals people certain cards, sometimes people just can't conform. Like in my case, what happened with me, you know, when I was a little girl, I was all for the little girl stuff. I was planning on lassoing a man, and you know, I was going to cook and take care of the kids, and the guy was going to, you know, do the man stuff, fix cars and mow the lawn and carve the turkey on Thanksgiving. But what happened with me is that when I had a terminally ill stepfather that had brain tumors, and when they operated on him, he became mentally retarded. And so I wound up taking care of him. And while I also took care of the house and all that, what happened is that I wound up having to take on the husband roles in the house. Like, I had to mow the lawn, and when there was a home repair, I had to do it. Now, it scared me half to death. You know, I didn't really want to do the stuff at first, but you know, there was nobody else. We weren't on speaking terms with our family. We didn't have, you know, my parents didn't really have friends that they could ask for help. We weren't on good relationships with our neighbors. And so, you know, it kind of fell on me. And of course I got some flack around the neighborhood when, you know, people saw me painting the car or doing repairs or something. But, you know, and that was really annoying, but I can't even imagine what it would have been like, you know, but I was just trying to take care of my family, you know. I wasn't competing. I had no interest in competing with men, you know, or, you know, I didn't hate men. I wasn't trying to compete with them. It's just that I was trying to help my family, and there didn't seem to be anybody else, and my stepfather couldn't do the stuff. And, you know, I can't even imagine what it would be like for a guy in that similar situation, you know, because it was a lot harder on boys, you know, if, like, actually that did happen to my stepfather. He took care of his family. He was, you know, his mother often ran off, and he was at home, and he did laundry, and he cooked dinner, you know, and I think there were people that, you know, sometimes called him a fag or something. But, you know, what do you expect people to do, you know, to, you know, starve because, you know, a woman's supposed to cook, and yet there's no woman around to cook for them, you know. So I kind of appreciate that they are starting to broaden gender roles, because the problem with gender roles is that they don't allow people to be self-sufficient, and sometimes we just need to be self-sufficient because we don't have anybody else. But I don't understand, to me, I don't understand if you can make, if it's okay to make these, you know, if you do have to like gender roles, I don't see why you can't do what you do with this, with an 18-inch doll. Like, this guy, okay, yeah, he drums, he's a drummer, but he's also a police detective, and years ago a serial killer killed his wife, and he's haunted, and he has seen too much, and he just, he has a partner, a female partner, he's in love with, but he can't admit it, and his heart belongs to his wife, and he tries to protect kids from bad people, and he's just seen too much, and he can't deal with it. And let's see, and this guy, he's a spy, the karate, that they claim that, if you touch a person, they can kill him. He knows all that, and he knows about technology, and I swear he's smiling. And all the women's are throwing themselves at them, but he has no time for them, because he's too busy hunting down a sister that had been kidnapped by traffickers. And this guy lives in a zombie apocalyptic world, and he saw his best friend and his wife get eaten by zombies. And while the wife of his best friend was having zombies chomp on her leg, she threw him her baby and said, you promised to protect my baby. And he said, yeah, I'll protect your baby, and it won't become an appetizer on my watch. So he goes around on the zombie apocalyptic place on his motorcycle and his trusty baseball bat and the baby carrier, in the back seat, and he doesn't allow any zombies to eat that baby, right? Right. And this guy, he's a Doctors Without Borders guy, and he braves big bugs and water that makes you pee blood after you drink it, and terrorist groups. And he goes and he's a surgeon, and he helps kids that have been disfigured, and he gives them a new face so that they can be accepted by society. And he is also a Jedi Knight, and what happened is after Order 66 he managed to get a time turner, and he came to our galaxy in our time period. So, and this kid, well, he's that weird kid that we always had in all of our classes that ate paste and always brought frogs to class, and we were always saying, ew, you shouldn't touch that frog, you're going to get warts, and there was never a hot dog day where he didn't take the hot dog out of the bun and pretend it was his wiener. Yeah. But if you need to have your dolls be, gender roles, boy dolls can be boys too. They can do all the gross, violent, appropriate boy stuff, So, anyway, that's my commentary. And it's a rather long commentary. Sorry, folks. Stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching.